to Queen Essie's Diary of a Hairy Woman, where I talk about my experience as a hairy woman. And today we will be talking about the most popular topic that everyone wants to know about: dating. Yay! Dating. So I'll be sharing my experiences on dating apps and just like how life has been, because I'm not like super in the dating world, but yes, I do go on dates and everything. But if I'm being completely honest, I just find it very distracting because I'm really trying to focus on my art career, and like dating can be very distracting for me. And so I'm not often in the dating game, but I've had a bit more experience these days with, you know, talking to guys on dating apps and going on dates. And yeah, because of course I need to tell y'all how it is, right? I need to tell you guys this because it's very important, especially if you're concerned if body hair will be, you know, an obstacle, you know, prevent you from finding love. But let's really get into it deep. I'm the person who's completely honest. You know me, if you watch my other videos, I'm not gonna hide anything. Let's really get into it. So if I really start from, you know, before I became a body hair activist, yeah, I used to use a lot of dating apps. And one of my things when I was still hiding my chest hair, and it was still the big secret that I was keeping from everyone and all the men. And so there always came a time where when I felt like the relationship was getting a bit, you know, was almost gonna cross the level of friendship, in the sense that the person might have like let me know that they have feelings for me. And there was this one guy who really liked me. That was like back in college, and I wasn't necessarily interested in him. And a lot of the things that I used to do, and you know, I'm not ashamed, but it's something I used to do, is, you know, he told me he liked me, and then I would basically share the secret that I have chest hair with the guy in order for him to not like me, or to see his, you know, expression, to see his reaction. And oftentimes, you know, when I showed that guy who really liked me that I had chest hair, he was not turned off by it, and he was like, you know, I don't care. And that's what often happens when you get to know somebody and you actually, you know, you get to really like their personality, learn about them, and you kind of start actually liking them, that these little things that for you are insecurities will not bother the person. Obviously it depends on who they are. I can't tell you how you would know, but if you know that the person's superficial, obviously they're not going to be the one that you're going to tell, hey, look, I have chest hair, you know what I mean? But for me, I've always been into like men that are down to earth. When I was using dating apps, of course I was getting matches. And so I don't know why I said of course, I just mean like, yes, that's what happens when you're using dating apps, you get matches. Okay. When I decided to stop shaving, I was seeing someone. Just before that, I was seeing someone. It was like not a serious relationship, but we're getting to know each other. And so this guy, he had seen me, you know, when I was, you know, still shaving and all that, and we got to know each other. And when I first revealed it to him, so that's before I became a body hair activist, you know, I was still, because like the thing about my chest hair is that I wasn't removing it anymore. I was removing part of it because my chest hair had grown a lot, and if I was wearing a crop top and things like that, we kind of would see it, and so I would just remove like above the line of the crop top basically. And so when I realized that the guy was kind of into me, I told him, which I always did. I was like, you know what, I just gotta tell you something, you know what, I got chest hair. And I showed him, and he really didn't care. He was like, yeah, so what, I got chest hair too, you know. He thought it was just funny and whatever. He really did not care at all. And we were still kind of seeing each other when I became a body hair activist in 2019, and when I really stopped like shaving. I was not shaving my legs and everything, and he did not look at me differently. He did not judge my leg hair. He was not like that. And he was mature, and I tend to like be into guys that are slightly older than me. When I mean older, I don't mean like 20 years, but like he was like, I think 3 years older than me. Yeah, but I don't think that has anything to do. It's just some people are more mature than others, you know. But yeah, so he wasn't disgusted by it, and yeah, he wasn't at all. And so I guess I was a bit lucky with I guess the men in my life, the ones that I, you know, revealed my secret to. A lot of women, a lot of people don't know that there's a whole community of men that fetishize hairy women. Yes, there's a whole community of men who are going to be, you know, once you kind of own your body hair, you embrace your body, there are men who will message you, or people who message you and say vulgar things, or, you know, sexual vulgar things, or just be like, I'm in love with you, your body hair is so, and they say all sorts of stuff. Because like at the end of the day, people will objectify, men will objectify you whether you have no body hair or you have body hair. And there's a community out there that will fetishize, you know, your body hair. I'm not into men that do that personally. When I was on a dating app, I had matched with this guy who, yeah, I had matched with him while I was still, you know, shaving at the time. Months passed, I became a body hair activist. I was posting my pictures on Snapchat and everything, showing, you know, what I do. And he basically was like, he let me know, he basically messaged me and he was like, oh my gosh, like I love chest hair, like I love women with chest hair. And I was like, at first I didn't know that whole community existed. I was just slightly introduced to it. It was the beginnings, and I just, in a way, when you are so afraid of your body and your body hair and you start slowly embracing it, and you have this little thought in the back of your head, like as if you can't find anyone that will love you, you start thinking that, how do I say this? Basically, you feel flattered. You start feeling flattered, like, oh my gosh, this person loves my chest hair, oh my gosh. But at the end of the day, he's actually objectifying you, okay? That's just how I see it, okay? Maybe you don't see it that way, but he is. And he was, how did I know this? Okay, someone could literally like your body hair to be like, oh my gosh, I think it makes you way more beautiful. And I've heard this before, right? It makes you way more beautiful, exactly, etc. Sorry. But this person was very sexual about it. Like, he was like, you know, I don't want to go into the details here, but he was basically trying to make me come to his house so he could, you know, do the do. And just because I was hairy, and he wanted me to send him videos. And I've had men do that. And at first you think it's flattery. You think, oh my gosh, I finally have, you feel approved at first. You feel like, oh my gosh, validated. Oh my gosh, there's men that think it's hot. But then you start really growing and maturing and understanding that you need to value yourself, and you kind of realize that this is gross. I am not an object, and I want someone to love me for me. And basically I'm telling you guys this because I think it's really important for me to share the process that was going on in my brain as I was growing and maturing and understanding that I needed to value myself, and value really had to go beyond wanting validation. And as women, as people, we always want to be validated. It's a sickness that we have, you know, and it's sometimes you finally, and it's a great feeling when you finally realize that you don't need other people's validations and you need to validate yourself. And as I always say, redefine beauty for yourself. And you just gotta wake up, and that takes time and maturity, but it's something that you will have to do yourself. But for me, I had to step back and realize that I don't like that. I don't like that kind of attention. I want someone to get to know me. And that's what would happen before I was shaving. When I was shaving, sorry, I got to know the person, they got to know me, and that's when I revealed that secret. But now things are a bit different because I own myself, I own my identity, I embrace my body. And so when I post on Instagram, someone who will see my content will, like, they will see what kind of woman I am, and if they're interested, and if they're not interested, then you know, it depends if they'll shoot their shot or not, you know what I mean? Today it's completely different. I don't need to hide, I'm not hiding that anymore, and so it's just like, take it or leave it, right? So like the guy that I was with on and off, who saw me when I was shaving and when I stopped shaving, he really didn't even see me any differently. And I thought, if I'm completely honest, I was shocked because I didn't see it in his eyes that he felt disgust. He still looked at me with, you know, I guess love in his eyes, and he still thought I was beautiful. And I was shocked because I was like, I've never experienced that, you know, because when you're so insecure about certain parts of you, you don't like, and you learn to like it, but you're not sure if someone will like it. Even though you know it exists, but you just are so in your head that you can't even imagine that someone would just love you for you and just be like, yeah, your body hair is part of you and I love it too, you know. So, something that I really need to get, you know, to really say, because it's very, very, very important. As a woman who shaves and as a woman who doesn't shave, your life doesn't change. And what I mean your life doesn't change, yes, you will love yourself, you learn to love yourself, etc., etc. What I mean is that things don't become magical, in a sense that if men were mean back then, if they were treating you like badly, or you found some jerks, you found some nice guys, it's gonna be the same when you go in that side. It's gonna be the same when you embrace yourself. You're gonna find some guys that, you know, that may like you, but they may not fit with you and your personality and not have the same values. It's like, I could be here finding someone who doesn't care, have body hair, and thinks it's cute or whatever, and is so kind. We could get to know each other, but at the end of the day, we don't have the same values. So, you know what I mean? So it's still gonna be the same thing. It's still the dating world. I think that sometimes we think that because we crossed over or something, or because now we embraced ourselves, that if we find a man, we gotta hold on to him because we don't know if anyone else is gonna love us. And that's not true. It's not true. There are a lot of men who don't care your body hair or think it's beautiful, and who wants to love you for you and wants to get to know you. So do not hold on to the first person that tells you they love you. At first, like when you decide to embrace your body, do not do that. You are still a human being. They're still a human being. You got to know them. You got to learn to know them, to, you know, get to know them. And so don't think that there won't be anyone else who will be interested in you. Do not think that. That's not true. That's not true. Another thing that I want to say is that a lot of men, you might already know this, but a lot of men date to impress their homeboys, you know, to impress their friends. So they might be interested in you, but they won't want to reveal it publicly. They won't want to follow you, so they'll DM you, oh, I'm interested in you. And I'm not with that. That's insecure. I don't need an insecure man, okay? I want a man who is willing to walk with me in the street and not be afraid and not be embarrassed. I don't need a man who's hiding behind his phone or is gonna meet me secretly. I don't need that in my life. So as soon as a man like that kind of follows me, or like, not follows me, but like DMs me, I'm like, I don't even answer, because I'm like, why? You're so afraid to follow me, you're so afraid to even post me, because I know that guy is not even going to be willing to post a picture of me because he'll be afraid that his friends would judge him or everyone else would judge him, like, if you like a girl with body hair, ew, you know, something like that. And so a lot of men are not secure in their own identity and their own preferences and what they like. I'm just saying, there's a lot of men like that, but there are also many who are secure in their identity and what they prefer. So yeah, so recently I was seeing someone and they also didn't care about my body hair. So basically, that's when I became a body hair activist, and I was like literally last year I met them in person, and we kind of like were seeing each other until a few months ago. And so yeah, they were very kind, and I told them, because we first saw each other on Instagram, we started following each other there, and he basically was like, you know, because I was like, oh my gosh, he's interested in me, but I want to make sure that he knows what he would be getting into, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, you know that I have body hair, right? You think it's okay? You're not bothered by that? He's like, no, not at all. I think it makes you even more beautiful. And I said, oh, okay, that's great. You know, I was like, okay, you know, I feel safe because I don't want him to freak out if he sees how hairy I am, because I don't shave, right? And so yeah, so he really didn't care, and he was fully comfortable with me. He thought that I had a great personality. He felt that I was brave or something. But yeah, but now we're not seeing each other anymore. we mutually went our separate ways. I really had to focus on my art. I'm sorry, I just can't do dating and career right now. I just can't. I just got out of school and I'm just really trying to focus on that. But yeah, we had a few differences as well. So that's what I'm saying basically, that it's not because all of a sudden you're a hairy girl and you own your body hair, you don't care about what anybody thinks, that every guy that's gonna come your way is gonna be the right one. That's what I'm saying. Another thing about dating apps, if I'm being completely honest, because I like to be completely honest, is that there will be less matches. Yes, there would be less matches. Okay, just like women, men are also conditioned to believe and have been programmed to believe that body hair is gross on women and it's okay on men. So they will be disgusted, they will say all types of stuff, okay, and they will not match with you. A lot of the times, even if they're into that, they will probably not match with you and you just won't know. But also, yeah, you might not get matches. So for me, I feel like it's way easier to meet people in person. If you're a hairy girl like myself, it's better to meet people in person because they will get a sense of your energy, especially because sometimes we see people on apps and we don't get all that from them, especially just from looking at images, and just in person they're bubbly, they have so much personality, and that really what kind of like brings you to them in a sense, that makes you really like them, and you don't always get that through people's pictures. You might swipe, you know, left to the, you know, to a guy that's like the right one for you, but because you thought his pictures weren't that nice, you just swiped and you missed that opportunity, right? And so it's basically the same thing. So when people are going to see your images, they'll be like, oh, gross, and have the idea of what a feminist is, the negative idea of what a feminist is, and it right away would do X, never, or just be mean. They'll match and then they'll say something mean. There are people like that, okay? Just gotta understand that people are mean. They'll always will be. Whether you don't even have body hair, they'll always have something to say about you. It just is what it is. And they're always projecting their own insecurities onto you because they don't feel comfortable with their own body. Maybe because I've had men even say, like, message me telling me that oh my gosh, you have more chest hair than me, because there are men out here who are insecure about the fact that you may have more body hair than them. And I've actually met a guy like that, and I thought he was cute, you know, we're getting along, and he knew I was a body hair activist, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to be with a girl who's hairier than me. So what that she's hairier than you? I don't see the issue, right? It's like, okay, she's hairier or she has more hair on her head than you, it shouldn't even be a problem. But there's some men that are insecure about that. Also, don't always wait for someone to make the first move as well. Just letting you know, don't always wait for that. You could hit up the person and it's okay to get rejected. Just don't take it personally. I've gotten rejected before as a body hair activist. I went in someone's DM, so I was like, oh, you're cute, you know, and he did not, you know, he responded, but you know, he wasn't into me, and that's totally fine, you know, because sometimes, you know, guys could go in your DMs and you won't be interested in them, or someone could go in your DMs and you won't be interested in them, and so it's completely normal. Rejection is completely normal, but sometimes people will accept the request and give the energy back. Basically, the most important thing you gotta keep in mind, you have to fully embrace yourself and be confident in who you are and in your body and in your appearance. If you are not at that level, don't jump into that kind of relationship where you're talking about how you're insecure about your body hair. Don't do that. You don't need to put anyone through that. I've noticed how some men, they just love confident women. I'm not saying they don't love confident women that are not confident and not willing to work with you. I'm not saying that, but a lot of men really like that. And if you're not afraid of your body hair and how you look, why would he be afraid to walk with you? Because you're a confident woman who doesn't care what anybody thinks. You hold strength. And so that's something really important to me. That's what I realized. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised that this guy's into me, but I'm not afraid to show my body hair. And he sees that through my images, and he sees that through my personality, that I'm not afraid to, like, I'm not hiding it. I'm not afraid. So he sees that that's part of who I am. That's part of my identity. And I own it. Therefore, he must accept me fully or not at all. So basically, I often say this, and it's something that I think about. Oftentimes, people, I've had someone write that once, a man who said that, who basically said, yeah, she won't get a man she won't get the men that she wants. And oftentimes it's just like, you gotta know, like I'm not looking for a Michael B. Jordan, you know what I mean? But if I wanted to, I think I could land one. You know what I mean? But it's just like, you don't need, like, you need to understand your value, and you need to be confident and know what you want, point blank. And it's so very sad to assume that someone who's hairy can't find someone. You really can. You really can. I promise you. I've had men who have messaged me and let me know that their girlfriend was hairy or their ex-girlfriend was hairy, and they didn't mind. And a lot of men don't mind. Not every man is weak-minded. I promise you. But you gotta be strong. And obviously it really depends where you live at, right? Because like, I've had messages from people, I think in France, that say like, you know, others could make some commentary about your body hair while I'm in Canada, and people just stare, right? No one's gonna be like, oh my gosh, you're hairy, like, unless they're like crazy, right? But in general, people just look. So obviously it depends what part like of the world you're from, and how, I mean, you know how your city is. I don't know. So, but obviously maybe keeping it a secret and revealing to someone, maybe it might be dangerous. I don't know. You know, I don't know how the guy will react. To me, it's about, I have to trust the person. I have to feel comfortable with the person. That's when I decided, hey, I have chest hair. That's how it was for me. But now that I've accepted it, it's like they already know, and it's like, you either like it or not. Like, but if you don't, why are you talking to me? And you need to want to be with someone who's gonna accept you as you are, because bodies change. They do. If you're willing to accept that he's gonna lose all his hair and is gonna be balding one day, you should be able to accept your natural body. And so you're probably wondering, is dating hard now that you're a hairy woman and you decided to embrace yourself? Not necessarily. Of course, it can be hard if you now feel like you don't have as many options, and which is totally normal, and you shouldn't feel down about it. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be with a man who doesn't love you for you. And if the options get a little smaller, doesn't mean all of a sudden it's just two people. Like, there's a bunch of people in that option section, right? Basically, you'll have an option of men that don't mind your body hair. And that's super, super important. You don't want to have everyone being into you. It becomes harder to find the right one. When I was dating men that didn't mind I had body hair, they used to play with my body hair, like just like pull on it, feel it, you know. They're not gonna be afraid to touch you. They're not gonna be afraid to touch your body. They're not gonna be afraid to pet your leg hairs. Like, they're not gonna be afraid. This is what happens. So I'm telling you, I'm letting you know, they're not gonna be afraid. They're gonna see it, and then, yeah, it's part of you, and they'll be like, hey, or, you know. Okay, but anyways, I'm not gonna. So if you have any more questions, feel free to DM me. Send me all your questions so I can make more videos and answer all your questions, basically. And I love doing that. So find me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm literally everywhere. Just write Queen SC, or, you know, I'm there. I'm there. So thank you for listening to me talk about dating, the dating world as a hairy woman. But anyways, have a wonderful day and see you soon.